Yeah, well, the geologists have classified rocks into three groups. There's the igneous rocks, which are fire rocks. Igneous is from Latin for fire. And they're, the molten rock that comes out of a volcano that forms basalt. We can say basalt, but Americans say basalt. Uh, and similar rocks, or granite, which is where the molten material cools under the ground. They're igneous rocks. Then we've got sedimentary rocks, and that's, everyone's familiar with sand and mud. They're sediments, and that's a result of erosion. When water, you have a flood, when you have a lot of rainfall, it's going to erode, and you get all these particles that wash down a river and boulders. They're all sediments, and they're different size. They're classified they're named according to their size. So a conglomerate is where you get big boulders. Sand is a much finer grain. Silt is finer still. Mud or clay stone is even finer still. So the sedimentary rocks, they're the ones that usually have the fossils in them, because the sediments bury the critters and the plants and produce the fossils. And the third type of rock is called a metamorphic rock. Everyone's familiar with a caterpillar that spins a cocoon and a chrysalis, and out it splits open, and we call it metamorphosis. It metamorphoses it into a beautiful butterfly. Well, what happens is a sedimentary rock can get buried in the earth, and under the pressure and temperature deep inside the earth, the minerals change, and it transforms into what we call a metamorphic rock, a schist or a gneiss. They're German mining terms that have been brought into the English language. And so they're the three classes of rocks. Now, sediments would probably cover about 85% of the Earth's surface. And that makes sense because we've got water erosion and all the rest of it. But they're only a thin veneer. We do get them in accumulations that can be up to 5 miles thick, or maybe even more if you go out into the Gulf of Mexico and some places where you've had a lot of erosion coming down from the Mississippi River, building up the sediments, washing off the continents. So in the scheme of things, they're only a thin veneer at the surface. So I don't know, I guess they make up certainly about 85% of the surface of the Earth is covered with sediments, but they probably only represent about 15% of the material that makes up the outer skin of the Earth. Much more is are the granites and volcanic rocks. Of course, we find volcanic rocks in between the sediment layers, because you've had volcanic eruptions and volcanic ash exploding in between sediment, adding the sediment layers. And then we have inside the Earth, particularly when you drill down, you get metamorphic rocks that form the foundations, as it were, of the land surface and the continents.